Special officer. Nobody does that.
We did not carry anybody.
The man took this Arab. We will not allow because he was chief of us and then you to carry land.
Sir, everything was acquired legally.
Will you stop that? Will you stop that?
Sir, I'm an officer. I have integrity.
Shut up, your man. Put us.
Not shut up.
Will you get out?
Sir,
Wike, soldiers, FCT officials face off over land issues in Abuja. Again, court stops PDP from holding national convention. Bandits kill pregnant woman, 4 others in Sokoto. And away from Nigeria, senior Tanzanian opposition leaders released on bail, party says. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Updates on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. We begin the news in the FCT where there was a heated confrontation on Tuesday between the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and an unidentified military officer over an alleged land-grabbing incident at the Gadua district in Abuja. A video of the altercation showed Wike accusing the officer of illegally taking possession of a parcel of land. The visibly angry minister questioned why the military was laying claim to the property simply because it was linked to a former chief of naval staff. The officer, dressed in military camouflage, interrupted the minister, insisting that the accusation was lawful and that he had acted with integrity. Wike, angered by the interruption, ordered the officer to be quiet.
Special officer. Nobody does that.
we did not carry anybody.
The man took this Arab. We will not allow because he was chief of us and then you to carry land.
Sir, everything was acquired legally.
Will you stop that? Will you stop that?
Sir, I'm an officer. I have integrity.
Shut up, your man. Put us.
I will not shut up.
Will you get out?
Sir, I won't shut up. Sir,
I was in school. You're not in school.
Sir, you can't shut
Will
me
you keep quiet?
You can't
Get
shut
me a big food.
I'm not
You are a big fool.
I'm not a fool,
You
sir.
can shoot anybody like that.
Sir, I'm not
You
a
are a big
fool.
fool. Are you?
I am not a fool, sir.
As for the time I graduated, you are in primary school.
I'm acting on orders.
Take for which order?
Call me a fool.
I just you will see whether you love this here.
Sir, you can't call me a fool.
Go and put up your
I'm an officer. I'm not a fool, sir. I'm an officer.
Meantime, the FCT minister says he would not tolerate intimidation, even from former service chiefs, after soldiers allegedly moved to protect developers accused of land grabbing in Abuja.
Even the position of the land. And when they came here, I was informed that the soldiers of the military had to chase them away. And I thought probably they would be acting illegally. And so today, while I was in the office, while they came to implement the directive that was given to them by myself, I was called that the military have taken over the place. And I have to come by myself to see things for myself. It's still unfortunate. And you heard what the officer said he was sent by the former chief of naval staff. And I don't understand how somebody who attained that position and see that he has a problem cannot approach my office to say, look, this is what is going on, this is what is going on. Or simply because he's a military man, he could use that to intimidate Nigerians. I'm not one of those kind of persons that will succumb to blackmail or intimidation. And you can imagine where you cannot even prove where the documents. And the doctor very control. He said, look, I was here. I said, bring the documents. You don't have the documents.
Still in the FCT, a federal high court has for the second time restrained the People's Democratic Party, PDP, from holding its national convention scheduled to hold in Ibadan, Oyo State between November 15 and 16. The court also barred the Independent National Electoral Commission from supervising, monitoring or recognizing the outcome of the convention where national officers are expected to be elected. Justice Peter Lifu on Tuesday issued the fresh order while delivering a ruling in an application brought by a former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido. Lamido had taken the party before the court, complaining that he was denied the opportunity to buy the chairmanship nomination form to enable him to participate in the convention. The judge predicated the restriction order against PDP because the party refused, neglected, and failed to comply with relevant conditions and laws for the conduct of such conventions. In his final pronouncement, the judge restrained PDP from proceeding with the convention billed for November 15 and 16 or any other date in Ibadan or any other place. He also stopped INEC from supervising, monitoring, or recognizing the outcome of any convention that will be organized by the PDP. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has issued a certificate of return to the Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo following his re-election. INEC also issued a certificate of return to his deputy, Onyekachukwu Ibezim. The certificates were presented to them by the supervising INEC National Commissioner in charge of the Anambra State election, Kenneth Ukeagu, in Awka, the state capital, on Tuesday. Soludo, who was accompanied by his wife Nonye and his children, commended INEC for the conduct of the election. This came 2 days after Soludo and his deputy were declared winners of the poll by the electoral body. Ukeagu said the presentation marked the end of the democratic process as a symbol of the trust and confidence the people of Anambra have reposed in the governor. He urged Soludo to continue with impactful leadership. On a sad note, suspected bandits have killed 5 people, including a pregnant woman, during an attack on Alkalije village in Yebo local government area of Sokoto State. The assailants reportedly invaded the community in the early hours of Monday, shooting indiscriminately at residents. Alkalije village, which falls under Kilgori district, shares borders with Silame local government area and some communities in Kebbi State. According to local sources, 2 other residents sustained gunshot wounds and are receiving treatment at a nearby hospital. A community leader who spoke on condition of anonymity lamented the frequent attacks on their villages by gunmen suspected to be crossing over from Kebbi State. The community leader appealed to the government to establish a security outpost in the area to help curb the attacks, noting that there is currently none. When contacted, the spokesman of the Sokoto State Police Command, DSP Ahmed Rufai, said he was not yet aware of the incident but promised to make inquiries. Residents of Njonku community in Malumfashi local government area of Katsina State have taken to the streets blocking the Gidan Mutum Daya Malumfashi road in protest over renewed bandit attacks that left 1 person dead and 5 others abducted during a late-night assault on Monday. The latest attack comes just week after the signing of the Kakumi Peace Accord, which was meant to restore calm to troubled communities in the area. The angry protesters, mostly youths from Njonku, set up roadblocks and burned tires, accusing the government of failing to protect their lives and property. It described the peace deal with bandits as a complete failure. According to residents, the attackers stormed the village around midnight and operated for nearly 5 hours without any intervention from security forces, despite frantic calls for help. In an attempt to disperse the protesters, military personnel reportedly opened fire, leading to the death of 1 person, while 3 others sustained critical injuries and were rushed to the hospital. Residents are now demanding stronger government action, calling for the deployment of more troops to combat banditry in the area once and for all.
As residents of Malumfashi, we can no longer sleep peacefully. We can't go to our farms to harvest our crops or even pray safely in our mosque. We are suffering. Banditry has destroyed our communities. Until now, we still don't know how many people were abducted from this village, apart from those killed. We are pleading with the state and federal governments to come to our rescue. My name is Aminu Umar. Last year, my child was abducted and I paid a ransom of 5 million naira. This year, my wife has also been kidnapped and the bandits are again demanding 5 million naira for her release. We are appealing for government intervention. People who are being killed, abducted, and our livestock rustled. We are living in fear every day.
Everybody, we can't sleep in our home. We have to go outside to do the government is not paying us. Government employ people to keep us safe. But the manpower is short. That's number one. Number two, all the palm produce, all the palms has been cleared. So these people, you can see them from 1 kilometer. Government has every right to protect us, and we are tired. So please, I'm calling Mr. President, we are tired. I'm APC grassroots supporter. I did APC since Maja, and I'm still in APC. But I don't blame my governor, I don't blame my local government chairman, but I blame federal government, because federal government has every right to protect me.
The federal government is holding talks with authorities of the United States over the military threat by U.S. President Donald Trump. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, disclosed this during an interview on Sky News. He revealed that diplomatic channels are proving effective towards rapprochement in the tense relationship between the government of the United States and Nigeria. The minister explained that the Nigerian government has not lost any territory to the Boko Haram terrorists, insisting that the war against insurgency is not conventional warfare. He alleged that a direct connection exists between a prescribed separatist element and U.S. lobby groups aimed at misinforming U.S. authorities.
The Nigerian government still insists that some of these assumptions that you have put out are based on data that largely cannot stand any scientific scrutiny. Yes, we do have religious issues in Nigeria. Yes, we do have security issues, especially in the northeastern part of the country, the northwest, and the north central part of the country as well. People are being killed in the mosques. People are also being killed in churches. We agree all that. And remember that when President Trump came into office the first time, he worked with Nigeria to ensure that some of these people perpetrating these crimes have been pushed, away from their sins, and this helped us to recover, some of the territories that were hitherto held by these terrorist organizations. So what we are saying is that we do recognize that Nigeria has security challenges all around, especially in the northern part of the country. But what we want the world to know is that the drivers of this conflict are diverse, as they are very complex, because we have economic issues, we have issues of land, we also have religious issues there. Very recently, even the Vatican Secretary of State also affirmed that, yes, indeed, there are conflicts, there are killings going on in Nigeria in many parts.
President Bola Tinubu has dispatched a high-level delegation to London to discuss the case of former Deputy Senate President Ekweremadu, who has been serving a prison sentence in the United Kingdom since March 2023. Government sources confirmed that Nigeria is seeking an arrangement that would allow Ekweremadu to serve the remainder of his sentence in the country. A delegation comprising the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, held talks on Monday with officials of the UK Ministry of Justice over the issue. After the meeting, the team was received at the Nigerian High Commission in London by the Acting High Commissioner, Ambassador Muhammad Maidugu. Speaking on Monday night, the spokesman for the Foreign Affairs Minister, Al-Qasim Abdul Qadir, confirmed that consultations with the UK authorities are ongoing, adding that a formal request for a prisoner transfer has been submitted. Ekweremadu and his wife were arrested by the London Metropolitan Police in June 2022 after allegedly attempting to procure a kidney donor for their ailing daughter, Sonia. He was later convicted in the UK for organ trafficking involving a 21-year-old Lagos street vendor.
Hello, how are you?
This is News Update on Trust TV, coming up after the break. 15 months after Heritage Bank's collapse, Ex-workers cry out over unpaid benefits. This and many more when we return. Welcome back from the break. In case you're just joining, this is News Update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. We told you that Wike, soldiers, FCT officials face off over land issues in Abuja. And again, court stops PDP from holding national convention. Now moving on to more stories. It's been over 15 months since the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, revoked Heritage Bank's operating license. But for the bank's former staff, life has gone from bad to worse. Their personal accounts remain frozen and many have slipped into financial ruin. Since the bank's liquidation, former employees have struggled to survive amid Nigeria's deepening cost of living crisis. On Tuesday, the National Industrial Court in Abuja continued hearing the suit filed by the ex-staff of the defunct Heritage Bank against the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC. Ibrahim Ismail completes the report.
For 15 long months, hundreds of former staff of the now defunct Heritage Bank have lived in limbo. Their salaries unpaid, accounts frozen, and job prospects slim. The CBN revoked the bank's license in June 2024, citing a breach of Section 12, Subsection 1 of the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020. Since then, life has been a daily struggle for many of the affected workers.
We have lost our jobs, we are being stigmatized, even when we apply in other banks. They are telling us because you are from Heritage, the management say they should hold on. What is our offense? Our offense is just being a Nigerian and working for a bank that the license was revoked by CBN and NDIC. So this has been our predicament, and honestly it's not funny because we live on begging daily. We've not gotten another job. I personally have not gotten another job. I still have to rely on family and friends to do whatever I want to do. So sad.
And what is really disturbing is it's now over 1 year. The staff funds had been trapped, our own personal savings that we were asked to bring as a deposit because everybody, as she explained, has target. And the money for me as a business person, have collected so many deposits from customers. All that money is still trapped in the bank. So what we are saying today is please pay us our deposit and our entitlements. And for me, although it's not part of this suit, I still believe pay the customers.
Despite repeated letters, protests and appeals, the former staff say they have been left to fend for themselves. Their frustration has now shifted to courts, where they are seeking justice and unpaid benefits from the NDIC. At Tuesday's sitting, the National Industrial Court in Abuja made fresh pronouncements on the matter.
That they were objecting that, number one, the provisions of KAMA, Section 580, mandates us to seek leave of court before suing them. However, the court has said no, it doesn't apply to National Industrial Court. We don't need to seek leave. On that premise, the court has struck down the provisions of Section 580 of KAMA and has stated that Section 254C of the Constitution, which does not require us to seek leave, is superior. And for that reason, the provisions of Section 580 of KAMA is void and has been struck out.
The case, Elizabeth Olawe and 144 others versus NDIC, has been adjourned to January 27, 2026. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Lagos government has announced the arrest of 3 individuals for illegally dumping waste at an unauthorized location in the Ayobo area of the state. The arrested persons were identified as 65-year-old Owonsunle Akinola, 47-year-old Adekpeju Sheun, and Shola Mikpe Akanwo, all residents of Lagos. Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokumbo Wahab, disclosed this in a post on his X handle on Tuesday, stating that the offenders were apprehended during an overnight enforcement operation conducted by the Lagos Waste Management Authority Waste Infraction Surveillance and Investigation Team. He said the suspects have been handed over to the agency's legal department for prosecution. The operation, which concluded early on the morning of November 11, 2025, is part of the state government's ongoing campaign to maintain environmental cleanliness and curb indiscriminate dumping. And now in business, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, has announced its intention to commence the 2025 licensing round beginning from December 1st, 2025, in a bid to boost crude oil production in the country. This was revealed by the Commission's Chief Executive Officer, Benga Komolafe, on Monday at the Project 1 Million Barrels Oil Per Day Investment Forum in London. According to him, a decision to flag up the licensing rounds is in line with President Tinubu's plan to grow Nigeria to a $1 trillion economy. The development followed an announcement by the presidency on Monday that it was considering a restructure of asset ownership in the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to increase dwindling crude oil production. The special advisor to the president on energy, Olu Verhijen, at the ongoing Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists conference in Lagos, stressed that achieving the 3 million barrels daily oil production goal required performance-based stewardship, even as she questioned NNPC's capacity to deliver incremental growth. Away from Nigeria, police in Tanzania have released several senior opposition leaders detained following the deadly protests that followed last month's disputed elections, according to the main opposition party, Chadema. 4 senior Chadema officials arrested last week for their alleged role in the protests were released on bail on Monday, the party said on social media. The unrest came when authorities cracked down on demonstrations against the re-election of President Samia Suluhu Hassan, who was declared the winner of the disputed election with nearly 98% of the vote. Chadema Vice Chairman John Heche and Deputy Secretary General Amani Golugwa were among those released. There was no immediate announcement from the Tanzanian government regarding their release. Alongside the detainment of the Chadema officials, prosecutors charged at least 145 people suspected of involvement in the countrywide protests with treason. More than 170 others have been charged with other protest-related offenses. In sports, Nigerian Falconets have emerged champions at the WAFU B Under-20 Girls Tournament in Benin Republic after beating Ghana 3-0 on Tuesday. Janet Ekweremadu scored the opening goal for Nigeria in the 17th minute, while Alaba Olabi doubled the advantage 7 minutes later. Ramotalai Karim netted Nigeria on the hour. Ekweremadu and Karim have scored 3 goals each in the competition. The victory took the Falconets to 9 points and plus 8 goals difference. They have scored tries in each of their 3 games. Moses Aduku's side will take on Benin Republic's Young Amazons in their last game on Wednesday morning. And that's a wrap on News Updates. Do not forget to follow us across all social media platforms for more programs, news and documentaries. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. Thank you for watching.